than that. He got paranoid. They just do throw a roll of dice in front of him, and they get power. They can't stand it. What we've been dealing with, we've visualized, when they talk about quantum leaps and quantum jumps, we jumped from back there, way back there, all the way up here. We've been here a long time, waiting. Think about it. Just think, does it look like we've been here waiting on the public to get where we've been here waiting? Do you see what I mean? We've been waiting on, it's clear. We've been waiting on the people to get where we are, right? We've been here. We've been here a long time. We've been here waiting on the environmental situation to catch up with us. That's why we've been saying, well, we just want to influence the direction of change. All the stuff that's happening is, it's not important. Oakland, that's not important. We'll do it, but it's not important. It don't change nothing. Why? Because quantum leaps. Like from way back then, we jumped over all of that fitna to get here. But we experienced everything to get where we are. Remember all of our literature. We had to show people how to do that you can do that. First of all, the legal people, what did the guy, Meeks, say? Meeks, he said, out of all of our organization that they defended, said, most of them won their cases, but all 8 of them are defunct. All the Muslims folded. That's in this time. The Muslims folded time before last. And time before that, when it was just the Dar al-Islam movement, they folded. They hit everybody with one punch, and they dropped them. They didn't hit us with everything in the arsenal. That's why it's been over a decade we changed in our arsenal. Is kindness, humor, and what else? Optimism, yeah. That's our arsenal. That's what we fight with, right? Why we fight with that? Because you can't do nobody no harm with kindness. It can't hurt you to be optimistic, although the most tragic things are happening to you and your organization. Nobody would put up with it. Alama Zakzaki is putting up with it. But ain't nobody's family getting blown up and shot and all that, not here in the United States. They wouldn't take it. They would quit. They would quit. They would all quit. I mean, in 1 or 2 little, if the governments even let them know we're going to do that, they would quit. They would quit. It's clear they would quit. The Negroes haven't had nothing happen. How could they be for Islam and ain't nobody, they don't have a case, they don't run over a tack in the street and get a flat tire? Nothing. Imagine, take the big chief Negroes. Nothing happens to none of them. That's ridiculous. I mean, for them to run a program like that, they should cover it and hide it. And if they put a lot of heat on, they wouldn't be able to speak before the people because people would be scared. But they should put a little, you know what I mean? Something to mix it up. What's the name was saying, and he said it on the thing, Mukhtar, remember he was saying, why, you got a deal from the government, right? And your father hooked up something of the, first of all, my father passed away back in the 80s. He was an old gentleman. He passed away in the 80s. Mukhtar was a little baby. Khadijah wasn't even born. Right? I didn't even know, first of all, in what I was doing, there's a certain thing happening. Nobody above me ever went to jail. And nobody below me, like my crew that handled all this. Nobody went to jail. Nobody went to jail but me. Something is fishy in Denmark. That's what they used to say. White folks say that. Something's fishy in Denmark. Nobody never went to jail. The people that was working with me in South America, coming back here, going back down there, they never went to jail. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. I'm the only one that ever went to jail. Okay. You know, my father, it's a long story, but when we went out to California, he was already 51 years old. So he had worked construction. That paid good money in those days. And we used to go, in those days they had them big old black lanterns with a candle like on top. Now they got blinking lights, but in those days they had a big old oil thing. I'm sure y'all never seen them. They've been out of date a long time. But anyway, a big old round, technically it looked like an old-time bomb with a fuse on the top. But it wasn't a fuse, it was just to stop. We would, if they had a construction job, my father, he would earn overtime by just taking us, all the boys, and we would put up them things in the street and light those oil lanterns. There was oil lamps. And he was a driver, so he had an old foreman, old white guy. He never had to go down the hole because he was too old to get down there and all of that. You know, by 1960, he's 60 years old from marching plows, not our 60, but walking behind them plows. G-Haul, the mule go this way, that way, with them long straps. It's a lot of walking. By that time, you're old. I mean, you get old way quicker than you get a workout program and you work your muscles. That ain't that. You're working on farms in the old days. And safety, they ain't had no safety. You know, I mean, you step in a hole, you just might die. I mean, that stuff was dangerous. Now they got OSHA and all that. But anyway, so when the old foreman retired, the new foreman knew my father was jiving the old foreman, so they retired him. So my father, him and his crew was from the country. They ran gambling houses down there. And so my father got with Pool Hall Brown and them guys, and they started using the pool hall for dice games and all that. You know, using the pool table perfectly. And, down the pool table down the end, they had a watchman at the door. And so, in those days, they went from flat broke to Pool Hall Brown. My father told me he'd give Pool Hall Brown $800 or $900 a week or something astronomical figure. When he just would make, he was lucky if he cleared $50 a week in those days, you know. But my father's from back in the country, and my father's advice later on, he never taught me how to gamble. To this day, I don't know how to gamble. Well, I mean, a little bit, but not really. He said, boy, you gotta get in the right manners. This is what my father told me. Boy, because that's all them little towns, all the sheriff. If you're gonna do anything, you gotta get a sheriff's cut. You got to. That's just the way it goes. And in the West, it's the same thing. The Vice Squad in Oakland, the Vice Squad, they wasn't crooked, but like this one prostitute that this guy on the Vice Squad liked. He was red, freckle-faced looking guy, and that prostitute had 2 babies on. They both had red, freckle-faced kids. So we know the game, you know. And the Vice Squad had approached me with that. I said, no. They said, no, you just do a little bit of this. I said, no. I said, here what we do. We play cops and robbers. I mean, I told them this exact thing. Y'all run around, try to catch me, and I'll run around, try to get away, and that's the way we'll do it. I ain't doing none of that, what you just said. I didn't even think about it. I said, we did. So my father said, boy, but you gotta get a white man his cut. He can't, you know. That's why I had trouble in Oakland later on. I ain't getting that crack or nothing. Well, you know. And I didn't know till I was getting arrested one time on 82nd Avenue up in an apartment. And everybody had called me and they said, man, the PG&E Pacific guys, they all around, that's the Vice, you know, they watch it and they call me. So my friend was up there that worked with me. He had all the dope upstairs, so I ran upstairs, drove around, parked in a place where the Vice couldn't get in. And I ran upstairs and told him to bag up everything, and he ran off. He did. He ran. I saw him running across the field. And so people wouldn't do that now. If they was away free, they'd stay away free. They wouldn't run up in the house. And the Vice grabbed me. Anyway, I beat the case. But while the whole Vice Squad was there, and the people had told my father, hey, so my father walked in, and he was like, yeah, you know. They said, all the gamblers is here. So that's the first time I realized that my father, the Vice Squad, you know, in those days it was prostitution and gambling and something else. Drugs, yeah. Those are the 3, that's what Vice was. So I was just thinking to myself, I said, my dad didn't know the whole Vice Squad. So that means he paying them, you know what I mean? They just all know that they get their cut, but he got to squeeze me, like your boy. That's why my father told me, boy, you just got, all you got to do, finish. Just give them their cut. You don't even have to tell them nobody. You don't have to do none of it. Just you minimum. You got to give them their cut. That's what they do, right? And all over the country, I don't care whether it's New York, this city, that city, the police is in on all of it. Now, the low-level police, but it's been the high-level police have always been on it. What did the guy say in that, what was that movie back in the 90s? That Fishburne made?
Oh,
you know the movie. He said, I don't know whether I'm a dope dealer playing like a police or a police playing like a dope dealer.
Deep cover.
Deep cover.
Right.
He was telling the truth. I don't know whether
Right.
I'm a police playing like a dope dealer or a dope dealer playing like a police. The guy told him, it don't matter. This is higher than that. Hey man, this is higher than me and you. And then, what did he say? They got the guy scheduled to be, you can't arrest him. He's scheduled to be the next president of Colombia or something, right?
Yeah.
That's the way they do.
That's what the movie 21 Bridges is about. It just came out.
21 Bridges, I like that movie. And 21 Bridges was good, I like that. But it don't stop no police dealing no dope.
No.
The French Connection dope, 450 pounds of pure heroin. In those days, that was big money. And by the time they got to court, they had went in the room, you know what, they keep the stuff locked up so many times and diluted the dope, it wasn't strong enough to give nobody no case. It was all milk sugar by then. Pure milk sugar, not no heroin in it at all. 450 pounds of pure heroin. Do you know how much money that was in those 450 pounds of pure heroin, China white or Turkish white, that you could dilute 20 times and it would still be 5% pure. 5%. That's enough to make you OD. 5%. You know, like it's 5 nickels, 20 nickels on $1. Simple, how many times can I cut it? Well, you cut it once, and I give it to you, you can cut yours 10 times. If I cut it twice, what I give to you, you can cut 5 times. See what I mean? People that don't know. So many people got killed. You tell them, how many hits can this take? You tell them, it'll take 4 hits. That's 4 hits if you do it all 1, 2, 3, 4. But if you hit it 1 time, but you can give to him, he can hit 2 times. You see the numbers? I done lost so many friends that didn't know those numbers. So man, this is stand 8, like pure heroin, Mexican heroin. You cut it 16 times because it's 86% pure. You cut it 16 times. 16 nickels. So all you gotta do is figure out how many nickels was that, right? Simple, right? So you could cut it 16 times. Some dummies would cut it about 8 times. And they would tell the guy, you can cut this 8 times. If you cut yours 8 times, he can't cut his but 1 time. You see what I mean? They didn't know it. Man, I lost so many friends. I said, man, why I get killed? He gave me some bunk, a whole kilo of bunk. So what did he do? Well, you told him he could cut it so many times. Well, how many? They didn't know. But anyway, imagine 450 pounds of pure heroin. You can cut that 20 times, you know what I mean? You can cut that 20 times. That's pure, right? Not Mexican brown, like brown sugar. It's good sweet sugar, but it's not white. That final process of turning it white, bleaching it out, and getting a few more hits off of it. Anyway, the point is that where we are as a group, we've had to go through so many things. Other people could not stand it, nor did they didn't have time to accumulate the knowledge. This is important. You have to look at, okay, if we get the game in Oakland, and we big time in that, and we go to Latin America, we go, let's say first we go to Africa and help everybody, and da-da-da-da. But then we go to South America. If you're living in South America, you're getting big game. You gotta know what you're doing, because if you're dealing in Colombia, it costs, in those days, $20 for somebody to hit. You could pay $20 for somebody to kill you. Maybe even less. 20 bucks. If I'm in South America by myself, most of the time, dealing with hundreds of thousands of dollars, either I'm the smartest guy in the world, Allah's hand is protecting me. Of course, in those days, I thought it was how smart I was, but I realized there's too many stuff going on for me to protect. I couldn't have did it. No way, it ain't no way. It just ain't no way. But it was certain type of protection that Allah give you, so Allah know the future. And Allah is preparing people all around this world for this period that we're living in right now. Preparation. Remember we talked about Iran got a jinx on Americans, but Iran don't know it and Americans don't know it. Just because we can read the historical science. Iranians just definitely don't know it. They get worried about white folks. You know, they got a jinx on them. Why? Everything they do to Iran is backfire. Don't make no difference what it is. Look at it. Everything that they have done to Iran has backfired. Isolate them, cut them off, they're independent. Nobody could stand that. Without being hurt now. Remember, food and all that, Iran got 4 seasons. So if they grow stuff up into breeze and everything, they can send it all over the country. But what they grow down in the hot part, in Bandar Abbas, and all of that, all along the Shatt al-Arab River, all along that, the border of Iran is right next to Mesopotamia, right? The Tigris and Euphrates. That's the Euphrates that runs. That's Euphrates. I guess people forget. That's Euphrates, right? On this side is Mesopotamia. On the other side is Iran. What's the difference? You can't tell by looking. Like southern Texas and northern Mexico, what's the difference? You don't know. Nobody knows. Oh, there's a border there. Okay. Allah is preparing. Look at the things that's been happening recently. It would be, on the calendar, it would be terrible that all of the fitna in Iraq, the fitna in Lebanon, right? All of that, even the attempted fitna in Iran, it backfired. It backfired on everybody. Now, what has that done? It forced Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and Iran to be even closer. You listen in the morning, listen to what the Iraqis are saying about all of this. They ain't going